Okay, the first of the gunk is on its way, man, and it feels good. Feels good. And I'm gonna start it off with me moving rocks out there. I want to put this at the beginning of the gunk too, just, but I'm not going to. We can get pushed to the end. Anyhow, I'm planning to graduate from the Claremont Colleges in May of 2011. If all goes well, that's what ought to happen. And I was laughing on the inside, LOL, right? Laugh out loud. I think most people are really laughing on the inside when they put that, but I just want to laugh at a couple of moments or eras in my life. I've lived a normal life. I'd say half my life, and the another part of it was somewhat irregular. There's somewhat of a confession. Not all together though. I was in a place called Westside San Bernardino. Westside San Bernardino. And the rich kids lived in the North Ends. In the neighborhood, you can check out Save a Snoop from this Homer Cocktail Foresight. It was near pretty, Muscoy was a little more rowdy than where I was at least slightly more rowdy as far as reputation. In neighborhood I was in didn't have reputation for being middle or upper class, to say the least. I had a good time there as a kid growing up, but I was bused. Starting in the early 70s, maybe late 60s, the United States started a program of integration. And I went to local elementary schools, but there was a chance for me to go to school in North Side San Bernardino, and I took it. It's called Golden Valley out there. Still talk to my best friend from 7th grade on Facebook a couple of years ago. It's great to hear from him. His name is Matt. And we'll try to stay on first name basis, for a lot of this. But anyhow, it got awkward. It got awkward because I look white. I'm Hispanic in culture because my last name's Corona. But I look white, and most kids on my bus, 95% or more, were Hispanic or black. And, those were my friends growing up, basically. A good deal of them, at least. I learned about white people through the Brady Bunch. There wasn't that many people in my first 9 years or so, because it was a minority neighborhood. No big deal. No big deal. You just wouldn't think it from looking at me on the outside, probably. And it made it awkward sometimes because, on a bus on the way home, and I have my white friends. I hang out with my white friends, and that's the first time, and I felt so great. I'm finally hanging out with people that are my own color, eye color, and skin color, hair color, and stuff, because it had never happened in my life. Actually, I lived here in Fontana for 1 year. Went to elementary school for 1 year in 5th grade. I had gone to that school for 1 week in 3rd grade, but in Fontana it was a lot different. In the 80s, it's predominantly white. It's not that way anymore. A lot of demographic change, a lot of Hispanics and other minorities out here. I think mostly from LA, actually. But 5th grade doesn't count as much because racism doesn't seem to exist so much in the early elementary grades, and creeps up on you. And I really didn't start feeling it within people that I cared about until about 7th grade. Is all I've seen on TV, but I've never never was a problem during elementary a whole lot. You know, I could go on a tangent and talk about isolated incidents. I'm not going to do that right now. But on the way home from Golden Valley, north end of San Bernardino, getting bus to, you know, west side San Bernardino, I used to lay down on my seat, you know, lay down on my seat. So my white friends wouldn't know that, you know, I live in a minority neighborhood. You know, because they knew I went and took the bus, but some of them went to Del Rosa, some of them went here, some of them went there. You know, it wasn't necessarily, I was in a, you know, predominantly Hispanic black neighborhood. No big deal, man. I have friends there. Those are the awkward kind of things you go through as an adolescent. But part of this Gunk series has been about this place right here. Because, you know, I moved from San Bernardino to Fontana in 9th grade. Okay, spent a couple years ago in Valley, went to junior high at Sequoia. And, you know, I'm in a house in a rural section of Fontana. Nothing really to be ashamed of or anything like that. You know, have some buddies out here and, you know, doing well. Then we lost our house in the mid-90s. And I got admitted to Claremont colleges, but after a year of living with my stepmom, I wound up in a trailer, you know, what I talked about out here, a little 25-foot trailer. And I was just laughing on the inside because while this Gunk piece is processing, it felt almost like the same thing as San Bernardino again. Except for being older and more mature, it's not as much that I'm ashamed as I was afraid of losing my financial aid. But I got admitted to Pitzer through a new resource program on a grant. I told one of the financial aid ladies my living circumstance. I'm living with my ex-stepmom. She's my ex-stepmom because she had divorced my dad. And she said, well, that means you're really not an independent student living on your own. I said, well, if you're not going to admit me, then I suppose there's nothing I could do. The option was going there as a transfer student, in which case I was going to have to live at Pitzer in a dorm and go full time. But I was working at the warehouse, and with all the loans and whatever grants were offered, it wasn't feasible, and they wound up letting me go there as a new resource student and saying, okay, well, it's an adult enough situation. Well, after that, I figured, okay, man, if they balked at, you know, the living arrangement I had before, I wasn't living in a house, I was living in a garage. Living in a garage converted to a bedroom. So I wasn't even living with the family in the house necessarily. But I figured if they freaked out at that a little bit, they're definitely gonna freak out if they know I'm living in a fucking trailer afterwards. You know, they were gonna sell the house down there on Date Street. So I didn't tell them. And I apologize to anyone if that was unethical. I don't necessarily think it was. We're talking about Greatest Good, Immanuel Kant, Jeremy Bentham, and you know whatnot. No harm, no foul. I'm not really sure what we're talking about here. But the reason I laugh is, hey man, I think I'm gonna make it through. And only a handful of people knew. Only a handful of people knew my circumstance. But I was laughing at this guy named Lane. I eventually I knew his girlfriend Courtney, and he was gonna move into the Outback, the Pitzer Outback. And I don't know if he was joking at me, and it's some kind of hidden metaphor. Because at the end of the semester, you know, he was doing a term paper, and he said, no, he's been staying in his buddy's dorm over here, but he was going to try to stay at the Grove House or in the Outback. And his girlfriend knew that I was over here in a trailer, at least from what I told her. And one of her roommates from the year before, Missy, and this girl named Erin, and whoever was listening to that conversation on the bus back from Watsonville. But only a handful of people knew that, hey man, I'm just trying to get by. I'm trying to get by, and if I make it through this, it's like an Evel Knievel jump, you know? I have 10 seconds. It's like an Evel Knievel jump. You make it over the Grand Canyon, then bam, you're a hero. You fall short, and holy shit. And for a long time, it felt like holy shit. But I think it's gonna work out. We gotta go. Someone's walking out there. Where are you going?